Do you have Disney Plus? If yes, Disney can kill you. Judge or whatever has an incentive to rule in the company's favor.
The other problem with that is, what if I hire my own court and then you hire your own court? And let's say the funniest possible thing happens where my court rules in your favor, but your court rules in my favor.
Right.
Does then the court need its own army? Seems like this might be one of those things where we could get like actual like federal legislation around this.
That's part of our injustice system. Hello, how the tech are you? This is our weekly tech show on Echoplex Media. We talk about tech news and science news and whatever other tech and science stuff we feel like talking about. I am historian Matt. I am a co-host and co-producer here on the show. My other co-host will introduce himself later. And we'll just jump into my first story. I have one story and it's a doozy. Basically, my title is, do you have Disney Plus? If yes, Disney can kill you. Not really, but it's kind of a wild and crazy story going on here. But basically, have you ever clicked through the terms of use agreement on a website or streaming service? If you did that on Disney Plus, Disney may be able to kill you with no consequences. And this comes from the story where a woman, Kanakporn Kignasun, I have no idea if I'm sure I butchered that name horribly, so I'll try not to repeat it. But basically, this poor woman died at Disney Springs restaurant from a severe nut allergy reaction or allergic reaction. She requested nut-free food, but the restaurant didn't follow her request. It is unclear why that did not happen. And so her husband, Jeffrey Piccolo, is suing Disney, or he's sued. But so the weirdness comes in, and why it's all like on the tech show is Disney claims the lawsuit should be dismissed because Piccolo signed up for a 1-month free trial of Disney Plus. Okay, so his wife died at an actual like park, but the husband can't sue because he signed up for a streaming service, except there was a 1-month free trial. Anyways, basically what's happening is the Disney Plus terms of service includes a requirement to use private arbitration for all disputes against the Walt Disney Company or its affiliates. That's in quotes. The forced arbitration is notorious for keeping companies from being held accountable. Dave, what do you think? Have you heard about this?
Yeah, I did. I heard about it on Hard Fork, I think. I have like, there's a lot of other places in my various travels through the depths of the internet where forced arbitration is often used by, typically I find it when someone tries to go after a particular space alien cult that I have been covering for years. And it seems like this might be one of those things where we could get like actual like federal legislation around this. It doesn't seem like that this would be a partisan issue, and I'm not sure why it is allowed in the way that it is, because it essentially, through, in this case, terms of service agreements, or, you know, in other cases, maybe contracts that people signed under some sort of duress, or oftentimes employment where you're going to sign the thing because otherwise you're going to live in a cardboard box. You end up being in forced arbitration, which seems to, in a lot of cases, make it so the company doesn't ever have its day in court, which is what the courts are supposed to be for when there's a kind of dispute, or like when somebody has a tort claim that now, well, sorry, you got to go to a meeting with our guy over here, essentially. They're like, oh, this is an independent third party, but like, come on. Like, well,
they're not really independent because the company that you're suing is paying for the arbitration usually.
Right.
So the arbitration panel or judge or whatever has an incentive to rule in the company's favor. So they're considered extremely biased, and you really can't get any serious justice out of it.
Well, yeah, and it's not the justice system. It's like a private court, almost, not like a court. I guess it's like a private court sort of that the company paid for. Sounds like a libertarian's wet dream, but
yes, it does.
And it is very like sort of libertarian in nature. You know, I've heard like a lot of libertarians suggest that to solve problems, we should all actually hire our own courts. And it seems like a funny idea, but this is an implementation of that where.
Well, I mean, it's such a stupid idea, because that means if you have to hire your own court, then only people who have money can get any form of justice.
And I mean, the other problem with that is, what if I hire my own court and then you hire your own court? And let's say the funniest possible thing happens where my court rules in your favor, but your court rules in my favor.
Right.
Does then the court need its own army?
Yeah.
So
what is going on with that?
So there are places where like arbitration is agreed on by both parties to avoid a court case. And there are certain cases where the court will actually appoint an arbitrator to try to avoid litigation. And that's fine.
That happens, I think, a lot in California. There's for certain types of cases, don't know specifically what it is, you go into arbitration. I know of somebody specific who in California had that happen to him, and it didn't turn out well, but I don't know if a case in front of a judge would have been better,
right?
From what I can tell.
Right. But I mean, that's a different thing, right? Where that's where the court has referred a party that neither person gets to choose.
Right.
And I think that should one or both parties not like the results of the arbitration, they can still continue with the court case, is my understanding. And then, I mean, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about the silliest version of this, where this guy signed up for the dude probably bought a new TV or something, and it said, "Hey, do you want a free month of Disney Plus with your new TV or your new Roku or maybe Comcast or cable company said, hey, somebody said, because you're associated with us, we're going to give you a free month of Disney Plus or something like that." Maybe they bought a new remote control. I don't know. Maybe they bought tickets to Disneyland. And it said, "Oh, do you want a free month of Disney Plus with your ticket to Disneyland?" I guess the spirit of the idea of doing this kind of arbitration is that if it's related to the thing that you signed up for, that the arbitration can happen. The problem here is Disney Plus is an online service that cannot poison you. Like it
can't kill you with an allergic reaction because they didn't pay attention to what they don't feed you anything. So
right, it cannot do that. I'm not sure. Disney Plus might be able to kill you, but that would be a different, much more complicated story.
Possibly, yeah. The I obviously it's a short topic here that we cover. I couldn't get everything in, but there's some stuff like apparently when the husband got Disney Plus, it was like 2 years before the incident that killed his wife. And it says he only signed up for the 1 month. It does not say that he continued using Disney Plus in any way. And then on top of that, apparently Disney didn't update any terms of service. I guess it was, they said it was their ticket to Epcot is where they went. And at least that's where I had tickets for. And those terms of service did not have any arbitration clause in it. So that's why they're falling back on this Disney Plus weirdness. It's all completely insane.
I mean, the only good thing here is if the arbitration, say the company or entity that's doing the arbitration is actually looking out for Disney's best interests, they're going to just tell Disney to pay this guy. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right. I mean, because maybe somebody over there is not cuckoo birds and is like, this all looks, I'm supposed to be representing your interests here. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be neutral, actually. I'm supposed to be, but you hired me to represent, to basically represent your interest. It is in your interest to pay this person and make this go away.
Well, the thing is, like, before, if they just went into arbitration, they probably could have gotten money. The guy could have gotten money, but the Disney probably could have have him sign an NDA. But that's out of the question. Out the window now, right? It's all out in the open, and Disney looks really stupid.
Right. I mean, I think this guy's going to be made whole. I don't know how you make somebody whole if you kill their partner, but I mean, this person's probably going to not have any financial concerns for the rest of his natural life. I'm assuming here, but instead of arbitration, they could have just sent him an offer. Yeah,
they could have settled. Yeah,
like immediately sent this guy a settlement offer.
Yep.
I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a public relations person. I'm fairly certain that this was the dumbest thing that they could have done, that is the worst for their reputation, because there's a way in which it's so cruel that it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
And I don't think that this person dying of a peanut allergy is funny. I just mean that there's a way in which there's this is dark humor. This is like satirical dark humor. This is Black Mirror.
Yes.
I haven't watched much of it, but this would occur on Black Mirror.
Yeah.
And I can't believe this. Somebody decided to do this. This didn't just happen automatically. Someone decided that this was the right thing to do.
Well, I want to clarify that from what I can tell, the lawsuit is not over. The judge hasn't, decided one way or the other yet. So this is just a defense, and it may not be the only defense. It may be just, one of the things that happens in some of these. I'm not a lawyer, but from what I can tell, in some of these, lawsuits and stuff, one side will try to get the thing thrown out, and they kind of grasp at straws at random stuff. So this may be just, kind of a Hail Mary kind of attempt, as stupid as it sounds. It may not be that serious of an attempt, if that makes sense.
It's still there. And I just feel like this might be like the best way in this case to really bias the judge against you. I know the judge is also supposed to be unbiased, but you could certainly do things during a court proceeding to piss the judge off. And this seems like maybe it might be one of those things. I don't know the judge.
Yes.
I know that if this was presented to me, it would piss me off. I would be pissed off that someone presented this to me in the first place. And I'd be like a little bit upset on behalf of the victims that it almost seems to be that they're trivializing what happened. I don't know. I can't, somebody's getting fired. Over this.
Yeah.
And the other thing is multiple people looked at like the paperwork that went to the court prior to this going to the court, right? There's Disney is a company where it's not just like, oh, we can just barely afford a lawyer, so we're oopsie daisy. Our filing was kind of dumb. No. I mean,
they probably have like a whole law firm that's representing them, and I mean, somebody thought this was a good idea.
Well, and I don't think everyone in the law firm looked at it, but I would assume that someone in the law firm and at least one of their superiors looked at it. And then Disney probably has their own legal department that probably took a look at it prior to it being filed. So there are a number of people who thought that including this at all was a good idea. But I don't know. This is one of those stories that might stick around, and we might actually find out that there might be somebody in this chain that was like, "Hey, no, actually."
Yeah.
And they were ignored. That would be the best story, and I wish that I was popular enough to get that interview. This one, I think this one's going to be a little bit sticky, and it's going to stay in the news, and this might be something that we end up following up on.
Right. Yeah. We will try and keep up with the case, and if anything new comes up, we'll try and do a follow up. But
my non-legal advice to Disney is to write a check yesterday.
Seriously.
Write a check for as much as you think the judge might fine for, and get rid of this story.
And I'd like to say was the forced arbitration. That's part of our injustice system.
Yeah. There have been a lot of cases where in my coverage of the cult of Scientology, this has come up. And it's hard to argue that some of these contracts are even valid. It's not just that weird billion-year one, but there are other contracts, and it's hard to argue that they're valid because these people oftentimes sign these under what I would call at least some form of duress. And the other thing is like Scientology, for example, has like legal protections as a religion, and I just, I'm not religious myself, but I don't know very many religious people who go to church who are asked to sign anything ever, not even a guest book.
Yeah.
So, if you're out there and you have the ability to say no to contracts that include forced arbitration, you should do that. I know that that's not the case for everyone. If you need a job and someone offers you a job that pays you as much money as you need to pay your bills and live comfortably, and it has a forced arbitration clause, they're not really asking. So, but out there, if you do have the ability to refuse to sign those things, please do, because it would, might shine some light on it. And, because I know members of Congress are checking out how the tech are you. Congress, you should do something about this. I know there was already something done about non-compete at the federal level. And I think forced arbitration would be the next smart thing. Maybe it doesn't even need to go through Congress. Maybe the FTC. I don't know what the National Labor Relations Board. Somebody do something about this. Because even if somebody tries to challenge it in court, I have a feeling that this would be one of those things that you might even get through the court system, because I don't think anybody likes this forced arbitration thing. It takes away your right to regressive grievance in front of a jury of your peers or a panel of judges, which is outlined in our Constitution. So I guess it's my turn now. Your story was very sad.
It is. And kind of humorous in a dark way.
Yeah, not only funny in that it's stupid. Certainly, again, I want to be clear that it is not funny at all for the victims and the victims' families. Thanks, everybody, for checking out How the Tech Are You? You can find our other podcasts at echoplexmedia.com. Just click the podcast link at the top of the website. There are a lot of ways to support this project. There's a support link at the top of the website. Just click that. You can find your favorite way to support us, or just tell a friend. I don't know. Check out our other live shows, twitch.tv/echoplexmedia. Those tend to start at 7 or 9 p.m. Pacific. That's 10 p.m. or midnight Eastern. Yes, it is during the nighttime. These are night shows for people in America. And have a great tech and week.